Well, hello, everybody. It is Dennis and Andy with another movie review in a few.
That's right. We went last night to see our latest film. We told you it was down to three, and we wound up going to see Scream 6.
That's right. We did. Hold on for a second. I always get these stupid text messages at the wrong time. Hold on.
Well, guys, I think you will be pleasantly surprised when we get to go. Oh, hold on, just for a second. Hello.
What's your favorite movie?
My
Scary movie.
my favorite scary movie. Oh my gosh, I'm having flashbacks. It's like deja vu. I, oh my god, I have two of them. Star Trek 5. I'm thinking it's Star Trek 5. No, I think it's Green Lantern. I definitely have to say it's Green Lantern.
Now you must die.
No!
I'm back. Sorry about that. Just
Oh,
had
that's
to.
okay. I just got a death threat.
Oh my God, that is ridiculous. Who
Dude,
would?
he asked me what my favorite scary movie was, and it was really down between Star Trek 5
That makes
and
sense.
Green Lantern.
That does not make sense at all. That
Oh,
is
it is
just
one
your
of the worst
favorite
movies.
movie, I think, is what you mean to say.
Green Lantern, yes, it is one of the scariest movies of all
No.
time.
All right. Anyhow, yes, we went and saw Scream 6. That's what it came down to. Where look, Dennis and I, when we're into a franchise, and we wanted to see something fun. Nothing against Creed, which we will see at some point. Nothing against 65, which I really do want to see, but we really want to see where Scream was going to go with this new installment after the last one. And one of the scariest things in this movie to me, Dennis, was Courtney Cox's face.
I tell you, I feel actually really kind of bad for her because we know she had plastic surgery and it just must not have gone well. So, yeah, I'm all about aging gracefully, but that
She
that's
should
something.
go.
I feel bad because I've always loved her.
I do too, because she's a really fun actress. Friends, all the way back to Bruce Springsteen's music video, Dancing in the Dark, when she popped up on
So
stage.
adorable.
And this is kids, her and Madonna are why you don't do plastic surgery.
Yeah,
Just let it go because she should show up on that show Botched and
I
see
will
if they
tell
can do it.
you. You know, I really like Courtney Cox. She has been instrumental and great to this entire franchise. She plays Gail Weathers, who makes her reappearance. This is spoiler free. We're not going to hit any of
Nope.
the big stuff. But, Gail Weathers came back and she makes her presence felt. It had some great comedic moments. Melissa Barrera plays Sam again. Jenna Ortega plays her sister Tara.
Wednesday Adams, no less, which I will say it's really cool if you watched Wednesday to watch this, or vice versa, because we've known Jenna Ortega from this before Wednesday Adams. To see the real nice dichotomy, I guess, of her playing these two different roles. She's very cute. She is really, when she's on screen, she just draws your attention. Now, here's what I didn't know. This will crack you up because she was in the previous installment as well. I didn't realize that was Hayden Panettiere playing Kirby.
Oh yeah, that was actually going to be my next point. Was Hayden came back and reprised her role as Kirby, and it is cool because she survives, the earlier movies, and that's kind of a testament because one thing this movie did like the last one, but to a higher degree, it relies on a lot of all of the actual previous movies. There are little Easter eggs and things that they play through it. So if you are a Scream fan, you will love this movie because they give fan service for all the different movies. Hayden makes it back in. I didn't think we would ever see her again.
Well, I'll be honest too, is with the reason is like it's because of the short hair. Like, I've got the cast list in front of me like you do, and I'm looking, and the picture they show of Hayden has long blonde hair, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's Hayden Panettiere." But with the short hair, it really was like, "Why do I recognize her?" And and that's it. And like you say, they do a great job of the Easter eggs. They do a great job of catching you up. So if you didn't see the previous movie, you're not really lost. I mean, you're a little
Right.
lost, but they do a nice job of catching you up. And these Scream movies have really turned into more of uh, a whodunit clue type movie because you're just, it's a horror movie, but it's also more of, like we said, whodunit. Because in the end, it's going to come out, and when it comes out, it's also a big part of it is also, okay, now that we know who did it, what's the motivation? And that to me is where they really need to seal the deal, because if they do a shitty job with the reason and the motivation of why, the person decided to don the mask and do all this, it can fall apart. So as long as they do a really good job with the motivation, I think it seals it. And I think they did do a good job with that again in this movie.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree. The movie, it's got to start out right, and because all the Scream movies have that certain beginning. Well, this one does start out with Samara Weaving as a professor and or associate professor,
That's right.
and her entry level, and immediately when it gets through there and her death scene sets the tone for the entire movie. It came out swinging. It hit on all cylinders. My wife and I love Samara Weaving, and we saw her like, oh my god, I had no idea she was even in this because she's not like in the trailers and stuff like this. She was awesome. It sets the tone for everything. I mean, you get pieces and filling in and who killed her and why, and then what happens to them, and it continues on. And all of a sudden, but they're in New Jersey now. So I mean, it kind of reminds
Well,
me of Jason
is it Jersey or
and
New York?
I thought it was Jersey. Maybe it's New York.
I thought it was New York. Anyhow, she's going to school. Jenna Ortega, Tara Carpenter, is going to college. Sam, her bigger sister, of
It's New
course,
York
wants to
City.
protect her. Huh?
It is New York City.
Okay. So Sam, her big sister, wants to protect her, so she goes up to school, basically just to work and live to protect her sister. It's roughly a year later from the previous movie. Obviously, it's around Halloween again, and um, yeah, I mean, we're doing a spoiler-free review. We don't want to spoil anything. They just do. They do a really good job setting it up. They do a good job of reintroducing the characters.
You see what they're going through because Sam's seeing a doctor, and played by Henry Cerny, who's great. Clear and Present Danger, one of my favorite actors from that. And then all things go loose when the bad guys wind up showing up and murders start happening. Dermot Mulroney plays Detective Bailey,
Yep.
and another one of our favorite actors. So he's in it. She's got her roommates played by Mason Gooding and Jasmine Savoy Brown. I will say this: every single character that's in this was perfectly cast. I did not dislike anybody. Their
No.
acting jobs, the dialogue was great, and more importantly, the stabs. This is probably one of the stabbiest movie,
Oh
and
yeah.
as the full stab movies go in here, and it was the way they did the sound and stuff. Every stab, it's almost like you felt it. Whereas the other movies, I didn't quite get that. This one felt more personal. It was very well done.
Now it is funny because Dennis had to get up and use the bathroom at one point, and what you missed was Mindy Meeks, played by Jasmine Savoy Brown. In the previous movie, she had this one monologue where she breaks down how sequels work or requels work and stuff. and pointing out like, oh, this character, this usually happens. So when you went to the bathroom, she was doing that again, where she's talking to basically the main cast: Jenna Ortega, Melissa uh, Barrera, Mason Gooding, a couple of the new actors that are in it. And she's breaking it down, saying this is now a franchise. And in a franchise, all bets are off. And legacy characters like Tara Carpenter and Sam Carpenter, they can be killed now. And the violence is usually ratcheted up. So everything that she brought up, the violence was ratcheted up and stuff. So it was neat having her do that breakdown.
Down
Now
my
there were
tiny
some
bladder.
things, yeah, and that you didn't miss much, but it was kind of integral. But it was a
Okay,
good place to go to the bathroom at the same time. Um,
gotcha.
maybe
I've got
wear a diaper, Dennis. Just
one.
saying.
Well, I get the big soda, and I wound up drinking 2 of them suckers yesterday. So yeah, my bladder just can't do that. So I knew it was coming, but I had one criticism of this movie.
Well, let's see if it's the same one I have. Go
All
ahead.
right. So my criticism, the big one, was no matter what, I think they were afraid to kill off any of the main characters because so many of them wound up getting stabbed, shot, big holes in them, blood's gushing out. And like 5-10 minutes later in another scene, they're back, they're running around and stuff like that. I'm like, you literally were there dying just minutes ago.
Right.
You can't be up and running. And I was like, you know, as much as I would have hated to see it, I almost rather would have seen one of the main characters just absolutely bite it for
By the
like,
way, this was supposed to be spoiler free. That's kind of a big spoiler if people going into this movie now know that none of the main characters bite it. Just
oh,
saying. That's kind of a big one. It's
hmm.
kind of a big one because I was going to have the same criticism, except I was going to not say main characters. I was just going to say there are some wounds inflicted to some characters in this movie. And then later on, or a few minutes later, they're back in the scene doing stuff where you're like, if you had a wound like that, you probably wouldn't be. So sorry about that, guys. I will say it's 2 hours long. It doesn't. It goes by pretty quick. There's no after credit, no mid credit, so you don't have to stay once the credits roll. Um, it it's worth seeing if you're into the Scream franchise and you like movies like this. It's definitely worth seeing. Um, yeah, I mean, let's give it our CGC rating and be done with the review in a few.
I will give it an 8.5. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it hit on like all cylinders. I enjoy the franchise, but I don't know if I would say some people were talking about it breathing new life into this. I don't know if it needed new life. I think it did a good job of harkening back. So, I thought it's solid. We saw it in 3D, and it is not necessary to spend the extra money in 3D on this.
No.
It's a good film. It's good to see it on a bigger screen, but 3D, not so important.
No. I'm giving it an 8.0. It is a fun movie. I would definitely check it out. Like I said, if you're into the Scream franchise or into horror movies, even though once again, I don't necessarily put this into the horror movie camp. It's a slasher flick, who done it. I kind of hope that they cap it with this one. But once again, if the box office is great, I would expect a Scream 7, but I hope they don't do that because it can wear thin. So we'll have to see where it goes. It does have an ending to where if they just leave it and let it go, it's satisfied. It's not a cliffhanger. It's not
So
a
we
setup
were
for another
talking
one.
last night. Nev Campbell, Sydney's not in this movie, and we had all thought she was going to be. I did find out why because we were talking about it last night. Apparently, there was a contract dispute, and they weren't willing to give her the money she wanted, so she walked.
Yeah, that was it because she was supposed to be in it. So
Yeah.
anyhow, if you're looking for a fun popcorn flick slasher movie, go check it out. And at the same time, of course, you want to check out Kor-Drath, The Reckoning by Dennis and myself. That's right. There's a slashing going on in this book because it is a barbarian tale of Kor-Drath and his lady friend, the sorceress Adriana, who have to track down who slaughtered Kor-Drath's tribe and why they did it. It is a mystery unto itself, packed into 76 pages of barbarian type action. Game of Thrones, Conan, Dungeons and Dragons, all mixed up, thrown into a bowl. We spit out Kor-Drath, The Reckoning. We're at 1,247 backers on Indiegogo. But if you're not an Indiegogo fan, that's cool. It's on Kickstarter as well, where we have 42 backers, $2,918. We're adding both campaigns together. We're right at the nudge of hitting our next stretch goal, which is 80,000 combined total. Once we get to that stretch goal, we will unlock for everybody the 7x10 Lilith mini print. Beautiful art of the character on the front, and on the back are her stats. She is a playable character. Playable? What's that mean, Dennis?
Well, that means you'll be able to read the graphic novel and then turn around and play the game in the module that I'm making, so that you can do some role playing with the characters. So yes, read the book, play the game.
That's right. And there's an artist edition. If you're into that sort of thing, you can check out my original art scanned in full color. It's in black and white, but when it's scanned in full color, it's like looking at the original piece of art for the whole book. Oversized 88-page hardcover. There's the game module cover with art by Bart Sears and Dan Lawless. It's a throwback to the old D&D game modules, and it is playable, like Dennis said. The links are in the description below. Go check it out. We thank you all for the continued support. It's because of you guys that allow us to do this project. I'm working on it every day at my drawing table. Wrapped up page 45, moving on to page 46. So go check out Kor-Drath, The Reckoning. Lend us your support if you would, and we guarantee you'll get a great book. Thank you all again for joining us for
To wrap
this.
it up, one last thing is we forgot to give our Rotten Tomatoes scores.
Oh, yeah.
And for Scream 6, the critics gave it a 79, so kind of surprising. Glad to hear that. Audience gave it a 94. So, guys, we're not the only ones who seem to like this one.
Yeah. Go check it out. Let us know in the comments what you think. Like, subscribe, and share. Hit the notification bell. And we'll check you guys later. Bye-bye, everybody.
Certified badass.